All right, morning. Welcome to another video about VA headaches. And so, as the caretaker of a Navy vet that was over there, he drank the water apparently, and he is really sick. And honestly, I'll just take a second. I'm just going to show you how sick he is. All right, here is his rating. Right, 100%, 20%, 20%, 100%, 20%, 10%, and 60%. And honestly, he's so 100% rated that he just stopped getting ratings. At some point, it's just worthless. He doesn't get anything more, and really, we're not even getting what we're promised. And so, let's take a second. Let me explain to you what I mean. And Mr. Doug Collins, sir, I realize this was all dumped on your plate, but these guys are suffering, and I am literally neck deep in this guy's world. And I'm telling you, I'm a web guy. I build websites, and I do all kinds of professional services. I cannot get nothing done at the VA. All right, I was locked out of your damn website, the VA.gov thing, for well over a year. In fact, I think the last time I logged in outside of this past week was almost 2 years ago. And honestly, it's just unacceptable. If something happens to me, this guy is totally screwed. He barely can use a computer. He can barely use a cell phone. These new cell phones, if I need a code to get into something, right, he straight up has to go hang up the phone, go to his text messages, write it down on a piece of paper, call me back, and give me the number. It doesn't work. You guys got to have a caretaker login. That should be number one. Number two, this video is really about critical testing being cut off, and you guys using civilian based criteria to actually use these tests. And let's take a second. I'm going to, I proficiently use different AI tools. And so I want to talk about this here on ChatGPT, and I want to talk about, Claude. All right. And Claude, here, we're just going to use Claude because it simplifies things, right? And so military exposure health testing issues and the key points, right? Critical screening gaps. Prostate cancer. Honestly, my father was without notice. He had his PSA test cut off at the age of 70. And honestly, by the time, his doctor actually, and I'm talking the VA doctor, all right, doubled his prostate medication. So honestly, he issued prostate medication, and then a year or so later, he doubled it and never did any kind of follow-up testing, knowing that he was over in Vietnam, knowing that he was exposed to this poison, this Agent Orange, and never took action. Honestly, that is not acceptable in my opinion. Honestly, the man should be held accountable for his failures. And honestly, how many tens of thousands of other vets has this one doctor completely failed? And honestly, across the entire board, we're talking hundreds of thousands of vets that are literally having their PSA tests and stuff cut off. And honestly, and having their medication doubled. Honestly, if you're a vet, do not trust your VA doctors. Honestly, I really believe in my heart that the VA knows you guys are going to get sick during a certain period of time, and they straight up cutting off tests and allowing this type of stuff to go on for the sole purpose that they don't want you to live too long on their nickel. And honestly, in the golden years of my father's retirement, he is sick as fuck. Excuse my profanity, but sick. He's really sick, and honestly, we can't get things. Honestly, it took. I kid you, last year I put like 9 requests in. One for a medical alert bracelet or pendant, right? Was approved, but nobody knows what happened to it. And I've actually asked like 3 times now, all right, and nobody ever gets back to me. Things like a ramp. Honestly, we're in a manufactured home. It has a 20-inch lift right to the front door. 20 inches. My dick is half that size. Okay, my dick is 1/3 that size. Straight up, 20 inches. And really, we've requested at least 3 times now. The first time they did send somebody out, they did some measurements. The guys really told me it had to be a 17-foot ramp or something and had no solution. None. Zero solutions for making that happen. They went back, I guess, to the VA. Nothing happened. It fell into the black hole of the VA. We literally have gotten 3 handicap bars. 3 handicap bars put in. The guy came out. He was here like 25 minutes, right? He threw it in with toggle bolts. I'm not so sure it would actually hold the weight of this veteran. Honestly, if I gotta drag him into a shower and hold him there, we're totally screwed. Like really. Bad. And yeah, we could go on and on. Yeah, the man is that disabled. I showed you how disabled he is. At some point he's gonna fall, right? And he's gonna need some kind of handicapped vehicle or some kind of way for me to move him around. Right now, I gotta count on the VA to move him around? No, that's not going to happen. Or count on Humana? The Humana system is absolutely horrific. On top of that, honestly, you guys owe these veterans so much more. Honestly, sir, we've got to seriously step it up. This guy only has a limited amount of time. You got to like start filing paperwork today. Uh, we're stressed out. I'm stressed out. The poor guy in his golden years is not enjoying his retirement. He's sick. You guys are just drugging him. He's got to have 11 to 15 medications going in his body right now. This is not acceptable. And so let's go back here to Claude, and let's just, prostate cancer screenings need to completely, honestly, by the time they got around to testing him, doing some kind of test for his prostate cancer, potential cancer, he's already stage 3, which is a death sentence. It's not acceptable. My family's pissed. We're pissed. Honestly, I hate to come off that way, but you guys are screwing, Americans that actually fought for this nation. My father was a radio man. Maybe he wasn't down there shooting at people, but he definitely was, on the radio trying to lend support to his brothers and sisters at arms. Hey, listen, if you're just tuning into this, please like and share, follow. Honestly, that kind of stuff is what helps me actually get in front of more people. Somebody, again, when you're writing articles, I'm just realizing this. You got to put stuff like at Secretary of Vet Affairs into the video, or this guy's never going to see it. And honestly, there's a list. I started a list here. Where is it? It's all these right here. If you're a VA person, boom, there it is. You need to put that kind of stuff in anything you put out here on the web. And note, honestly, I will podcast with you. Right? There are services out here right now. You can straight up, honestly, you don't even need me to podcast. I can make a set of videos to show you how you can AI podcast. And all you got to do is write your story. Honestly, take time. If you're a veteran and you're suffering out here, take time to tell your story. Put it in writing. Send it over to me. I'll throw it into a podcast, AI podcast thing. I'll throw up an episode, and I will try to get you some kind of exposure. And ultimately, I think collectively, we can get this thing resolved. And we just got to, we got to, I don't hate to say annoy these guys, but these guys, that's their job. This guy signed up for probably a very crappy job. But he's the top guy, and if anybody can get it done, VA Secretary Doug Collins can get it done, honestly. And honestly, Mr. Trump, please empower this guy. Give this guy $500 million. Let him take care of these veterans. They only have so long to live, right? We're not asking for much. I'm talking, some kind of vehicle to move him around. Some kind of, something better than a generic wheelchair, right? And honestly, even getting little things like a walker has been an absolute pain in the butt. This has to change. It has to change, guys. It's not fair. It's not okay. These guys served our country. We're taking care of illegals more and better than we are our own veterans. And look, lung cancer screenings, liver function screenings, asbestos-exposure screenings, blood disorders, all right, limited testing for toxic exposures related to cancers until symptomatic. Honestly, you guys are looking at data. All right, I know you got a department in the VA that sits there and looks at the data of when these guys are getting sick based on where they were positioned. And honestly, when you have that kind of data, you should be able to go and say, well, he has 5,000 shipmates. They all need to be notified immediately that they got to take these tests. Right? The American people owe it to these guys. Whether you're okay with the Vietnam War or Korea, honestly, my neighbor over here, he's been deaf for 50 years. All right, because of some explosion or something that hurt his hearing, and out of his own pride, he's never filed for anything. My father's girlfriend, all right, 91 years old. Her husband died of prostate cancer. Unfortunately, he didn't even know. He wasn't even alerted that he was supposed to go and file some disability claim or something. He definitely was treated and had gone to the VA. The VA never once said a single word to him about filing for some kind of disability. And honestly, she is now gone, without any of her benefits, any of the money that was owed to him. Honestly, it's a shame. It's really shameful what they have done to these veterans. And really, let's talk specifically about Vietnam veterans, Navy shipyard workers being exposed to asbestos, post 9/11 veterans in burn pits, and the Camp Lejeune veterans. If I hope I said that all wrong, guys. Listen, if you're a veteran, just follow, give me a little bit of support here, post some comments, send this video over to Mr. Doug Collins, right? Honestly, something's got to happen here, guys. This is not good. And And really, it's so much worse. I know ChatGPT really spit out some serious content on this, and at the end of the day, I'm gonna post this video on my website. I'm gonna actually have a full write up, and I'll actually put in here, even more stuff about the different tests that are cut off or just not even offered. Right? Honestly, I just think that's really evil, and that's a good place to start, guys. Along with immediately getting us some freaking handicap related stuff and pimping this building out. Honestly, I don't want to hear how the VA came back and told us that, oh, he's got to lose his legs first, or he's got to be completely crippled and unable to move. Honestly, unless you're going to provide that within 24 hours of him falling and breaking a hip, I don't want to hear any more excuses. All right, I am full time in this guy's world. All right, I don't get a nickel worth of help or support. I'm constantly over the VA, over there, listening to their lies, and they do nothing but, what is it? What's the words? Deny, delay, and I don't even know if anybody's ever going to depose. But no, 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 no. Honestly, if you're a veteran, come on, soldier up with me here. All right, I'm going to beat the beehive because I want this fixed. Honestly, I do not want to watch my father die and have to drag him into a shower by cupping under his arms or try to pick him up. Honestly, I'm missing an arm right these days. I really don't have the strength, to do that kind of stuff. And honestly, I'm feeling so totally defeated. I don't know about you. Hey, listen, if there's something I could do to get your story out, please reach out to me. I'm not hard to find. I'm everywhere on the web. And really, just please take a second and definitely, we've got to do something here to help these veterans. And I apologize, Mr. Doug Collins. I don't mean to be a dick, but really, you guys, the VA has totally dicked our family. 10 years in the Navy. The guy deserves better. He was down there for the Cuba Missile Crisis and Vietnam. He was exposed to all kinds of radiation-based telecommunication type devices. He was exposed to all kinds of asbestos because he was forced to spray paint the quarters at one point. And honestly, he talks about putting his arms into barrels of chemicals so he could clean radio telecommunication device things. And he was given zero gloves, zero anything. And he talks about burns that he got from the radiation that came off of these things. He literally walking around testing things with a light bulb. And when it glowed, they knew it worked. And when it didn't glow, he knew that was the broken part. And then he was just totally exposed to more than Agent Orange. And I think you guys have a list of stuff somewhere in the back office that talks about all the things these veterans are actually exposed to and what you guys are actually paying for and what you're not paying for. Honestly, that needs to go away immediately, right? You guys just need to penny up and get the help for these guys. These guys have a limited amount of time. Maybe it's 10 years we're talking before they're pretty much all going to be gone off the earth. And this is their golden years. This is when they should be relaxing and kicking back. We're in Daytona Beach. My father can't even really go and do anything because he can't walk far enough onto a beach to enjoy it. Because he'll just fall. He's like a weeble wobble. Honestly, that's enough of my bitching this morning. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for my tonality. I didn't sleep again last night. I'm worried about this guy. It's Monday morning. He's messed up, and ultimately, I don't see the VA stepping up anytime soon to get this thing done. And so this is another special message to VA Secretary Doug Collins and his team. And again, there's the things you gotta contact. I'll be listing all these probably instead of hashtags. And dig it. Thank you for listening to my rant. And please pass this message on to VA Secretary Doug Collins. Like and share it, and consider podcasting or at least telling your story in writing, because I could take it and I could put it into Notebook LM. All right, and you can look that up. You can create a free account. You can do it yourself. Honestly, it will podcast. It'll create an episode about your episode, right? And it'll help get some kind of something. And ultimately, if you'll give me the privilege of publishing it, I would be utterly grateful. I'm here at your service. Thank you very much. Have a great day.